Hi, third graders. Welcome back to your TV classroom. Today is Monday, March 8th. How are you? How was your weekend? Oh, we're going to check in with our zones today. Let's take a look and let's take inventory of ourselves and let's think about what are our emotions? How is our body feeling? What is our brain doing? And if I'm really honest with you today, third graders, I am not in the green zone. I had a rough morning, things did not go as planned, and I am just in the blue zone today. It just is not. Do you ever have those days where everything feels like it's not going as planned? I'm having one of those days. However, I still have to go to work. I still need to teach you, and I still need to film our TV lesson. So what am I gonna do? Well, I'm gonna take some deep breaths, and I'm gonna do the best I can. And I'm gonna be kind to myself. And if I make mistakes, I'm gonna say, that's okay, learn from that mistake, move on, you can do it next time. So I'm being honest with you today. I am not in the green zone. My mood is not great, but I'm gonna do the best that I can because I still have to do my job. Just like when you're at school or at home and you're not in the green zone, you can't just go sit in your room and not do anything because then we would just sit in our rooms all the time and not do anything. You have to find the strength from within to put one foot in front of the other and take it moment by moment. Some days you can take on the whole day. Other days, you have to do things step by step. I'm here. Mr. Kevin started the TV classroom. Now I'm gonna teach it and I'm gonna be okay. Mr. Kevin, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I am also in the blue zone today, Mrs. Wally, so I empathize with you.
Yeah, and sometimes it's helpful to have a friend who has some similar feelings, and actually sometimes that helps you get into the green zone because you understand each other and empathize with each other, and it helps your day. So I'm hoping that as my day goes on, I'm gonna get into the green zone. I'm hoping that's what happens, but we'll see, and if not, it's okay. I don't need to be upset about it.
Would it help to know that we love you?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Kevin. Would it help to know that we love you too?
Yes.
It's so great to know that people care about you no matter what zone you're in. They don't care about you because of your zone. They care about you because of you. And so it's really helpful to know people care even when you're in that gloomy blue zone. So let's get learning today. Are you ready, friends?
Let's do it.
We're gonna make 1,100. What are some ways that we could make that number? Mr. Kevin, do you have any ways today? Oh, which way?
My mic was off. I think I do.
What do you think?
Well, I was thinking 1,000 plus 100.
That would work, but my pen has to be on first.
Okay.
1,000. Friends, there's gonna be lots of mistakes like that today, so you get to giggle a little bit today and watch Mrs. Wally make some mistakes. Yes, 1,000 plus 100. That works. I'm thinking, well, what if I split 1,000 in half and 100 in half? So I would get 550 times 2.
That's a good way.
What if I split 550 in half? Well, what's 500 in half? 250. And what's 50 in half? 25. That would be 200. Man, it's not wanting to write today. 275 times 4, because I split the group of 2 in half, so now I have groups of 4. 4 groups of 275, or 275 groups of 4. Can you imagine writing 275 groups of 4, Mr. Kevin?
No.
Oh man.
It would take a long time.
That would take a really long time. Whew. All right. 1,140. Well, I could do 1,000 plus 100 plus 40. That would work. What's another one, Mr. Kevin? What do you think?
I like your strategy of taking 1,000 and splitting that in 2. So it'd be 500.
Yep.
Plus half of 100 is 50. Plus half of 40 is 20. So it would be 570.
You know what I was thinking in my brain
2.
when you were saying that? It's interesting because you did half of 100, half of 40. And in my brain, I said, well, 14 tens, half of that is 7 tens, which is 70.
Wow, you made a shortcut.
I did. Like I saw it as 14 tens instead of 140. Isn't that interesting, friends, how our brains, we were doing the exact same thing, Mr. Kevin and I. He just split it up into the hundreds and the tens, and I just made it all tens. It's that whole regrouping thing. So it would be 570 times 2. Awesome. Let's take a look at what we're going to learn today. Today we are showing how we solve two-step problems using any of the 4 operations and show how we check our work. Remember that whole like rounding estimating thing? We're going to use that today to check our work after we've solved a two-step story problem. So let's get going. Lydia is packing boxes of candles, putting 8 candles in each box. There are 142 candles to pack in all. She has already packed 3 boxes. How many candles does she still have to pack? Now, when I was a student, when I read problems like this, I was like, I'm just gonna guess that's a lot, oh well. But that's not being a mathematician. So we've read it. What's happening in this problem? Well, Lydia has some packing to do. I'm guessing Lydia has like a candle business, and Lydia's packing boxes of candles. She's packed some, and we have to figure out how many candles she has, how many boxes she still has left to pack, or no, how many candles she still has left to pack. So let's read and find the question and see if we can get some models drawn to help us understand it better. So Lydia is packing boxes of candles, putting 8 candles in each box. Okay, so Mr. Kevin, can you put on my screen? So I'm not gonna put any numbers in. We just know that there's gonna be boxes of candles, and we know the total amount of candles that are gonna be packed, right? So we have all these boxes. We don't know how many boxes yet. And we're trying to figure out how many candles she still needs to pack. So maybe this would be our question mark right here. Like this is the part that we're gonna know she's packed. And then this is the part that we don't know. Okay, so let's figure out what our question is. Are we trying to figure out the number of boxes? Or are we talking about candles? So it says Lydia is packing boxes of candles, putting 8 candles in each box. There are 142 candles to pack in all. She has already packed 3 boxes. How many candles does she have to pack? So what are we trying to figure out? Yeah, how many candles she still needs to pack. My touchscreen is being tricky today. So I think that question mark's good. This will be like how many candles Lydia still needs to pack from the whole amount. Okay, let's read and find the information we know and let's put it on our model. Make sure you're drawing the model along with me. So we know Lydia's packing boxes of candles. She's putting 8 candles in each box. So I'm just gonna write that down here. 8 in each box. So we just know that. That's information I know that's gonna be helpful. I'm gonna highlight that green because I don't really know how to put that on here yet. But as we go, it will tell us. So 8 candles in each box. There are 142 candles to pack in all. So we know the total of candles. So we can put that up at the top, which is 142. 142 candles. Okay. She has already packed 3 boxes. So this is gonna be the 3 boxes she's already packed. 3 boxes. Okay, but I don't know how to get this yet. Oh, that goes back to that 8 in each box. We know how many are here because we can do 8, 8, 8. Okay. So we don't know this amount here. This is the part we don't know. We don't know how many are here. And that's what we're trying to figure out. How many candles are left? So what's our first step going to be? We know our total, 142, minus the part we know, which we know, but we don't know the total yet. We have this, which is 3 groups of 8. So we're gonna take 142 and we're gonna subtract 3 groups of 8, and we're gonna get the candles that she has left to pack. Go ahead and solve that. I'm gonna give you 1 minute. friends. So we have 142 minus, what's 3 times 4? 3 times 8, not 3 times 4. What's 3 times 8? 24. Ooh, my pen is running out, which is going to equal the candle. So what's 142 minus 24? Well, 142 minus 20 is 122. Minus 4 would be 118. So she has 118 candles left to pack. Now we could go and make this a 3-step problem and figure out how many boxes she had left to pack, but it didn't tell us to do that. Now let's check our work. Let's round to the nearest 10. Okay, 140 minus 20. What's 140 minus 20? 120. Is 118 close to 120? Sure is. Reasonable answer. Go ahead, reset your board. I'm going to get a different marker because this one is not wanting to write. So let's see, what can I find here that might work? Let's see if this one's, oh, there's a brown one. That might be best. Oh no, that's black. Oh yeah, that one's good. Okay. Here we go. Let's look at the next problem.
Full screen.
Yes, Mr. Kevin? Yes, full screen, please. Let's do this problem together. Students in Miss Kemp's class earn 1 point for each page they read. What you're doing right now, friends, is you are thinking about what's happening. I don't care about the numbers, I don't care about the question, just what's happening in this story. Students in Miss Kemp's class earn 1 point for each page they read. A student who earns 300 points gets a prize. Elise reads 8 pages a day for 7 days in a row. How many more points does she need to get a prize? Show your work. Okay, you might hear some banging in the background. There's a truck doing something out. There's a garbage truck, Miss Oslin says. Sounds like it's garbage day. So what's happening here? Yeah, they're having a competition. They get a prize if they read so many pages. Great. Let's draw a model with the information that we know and talk about what's happening before we put numbers and question marks in. So we know they get 1 point for each page they read. And a student who earns 300 points gets a prize. So we know there's a total amount of points they need to read to get a prize, right? Yeah, okay. Elise reads 8 pages a day for 7 days in a row. So we know that there's going to be an amount that she reads, and then an amount she needs to, because it says how many more points does she need. So then we know that she's going to need to get some more points, okay? So these are the points she's already read and the points that she needs to read, and there's a total amount of points. So now let's find the question mark. Where are we going to put the question mark? Is it going to be the total amount, the amount she's already read, or the amount she still needs to read? So read along with me. Here we go. Students in Miss Kemp's class earn 1 point for each page they read. A student who earns 300 points gets a prize. Elise reads 8 pages a day for 7 days in a row. How many more points does she need to get a prize? Show your work. What's our question? How many more points does she need to get a prize? So where are we going to put the question mark in our model? Are we going to put it in the total amount she needs to read, the amount she's already read, or the amount that she still needs to read? That second part. Yeah, the second part. So put a question mark right here. We know that's what we're trying to figure out. Another thing we want to put down here is 1 point equals 1 page. So that we know that each page is the same as a point. Okay, let's find the information we know and then put that into our model. Students in Miss Kemp's class earn 1 point for each page they read. So that's that little key down there I have. A student who earns 300 points gets a prize. So we know the total amount she needs to read is 300 points. Elise reads 8 pages a day for 7 days in a row. How many more points does she need to get a prize? Okay, so let's put this information on our model. Where's the 300 points gonna go? Is that the total amount she needs or the part she's already read? Yeah, the total amount she needs. So we can put 300 points right here. My touchscreen's being a little silly today, so ignore if there's any of those funny lines. Then what else do we know? 8 pages for 7 days. That's 7 days of 8 pages, or 7 groups of 8. How would I show that in my model? I could make 7 days. Okay, so there's 1 day, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have my 7 days, and I can put 8 pages in each day. Okay, so go ahead. I'm gonna give you 1 minute on your whiteboard. Try and solve. Mr. Kevin, I'm gonna put it on my whiteboard, but please don't show my whiteboard yet.
Okay.
Are you ready? Write the equation you think matches and solve. Go for it. Okay,
Ready?
I'm ready. I'm gonna talk about a mistake I made here in a second. Take a look, it says 300 minus 7 groups of 8. Is that what our model shows? 300 is the whole, 7 groups of 8 is the part that we know, and we're trying to figure out the points she still needs to read. Okay, so we keep the 300 because we can't subtract yet, minus, and we have to figure out what 7 times 8 is, which is 56. I almost put 35, and I don't know why. My brain was thinking 7 groups of 5 from the last problem. Oops, but I didn't. I caught myself. Then I subtracted, and I said 300 minus 50 is 250, and 250 minus 6 is 244. But you know what I did? I made a mistake a lot of students make. Did you see the mistake I made, Mr. Kevin, when I was writing?
No, I didn't.
So instead of 2 here, I had a 3.
Ah.
I did 300 minus 50 is 350, minus 6 is 344.
Well, you caught it quick enough that I didn't see it happen.
But here's how I caught it. Do you want to know how I caught it? By checking my work. I went down and I did my estimating. I did 300 minus 50 equals 2, and I looked up and went, I forgot to take away, I forgot that I'm regrouping over 100. I knew I was doing it. I just made a simple error in my brain. So checking my work helped me identify, it wasn't that I didn't know what I was doing, it was just that I just made a simple error, and that happens in math. So checking helped me catch that and helped me not embarrass myself on TV, which was great. I'm so glad I did that. So your answer should have been 244, and your check should have been something around 250, because this one is already rounded. It's at a round number at 300, and 56, I rounded it down. I should have rounded it up, but I got close, right? 250 is close, right? I just said 300 minus 50 is 250, close enough. I could have done 300 minus 60, and that would have equaled 240, which would have also been close. Either of those are close, and I knew that I checked my work. Okay? Awesome. Let's take a look at the next problem. Okay, I'm gonna skip ahead because we are running out of time and I want to do this one. Which equation cannot be used to solve the problem below? So we're not even gonna solve it, we're just trying to find the equation. Rosa and Brett are the only 2 people in a school election. Rosa gets 314 votes in the election. She gets 18 more votes than Brett. How many people voted in the election? Well, Mr. Kevin will need the whiteboard up.
Okay.
Let's think about what we're doing here. Before we even go, we've got two people and we're comparing. So just draw those comparison bars. Okay? Now let's figure out where the question mark's gonna be. Rosa and Brett are the only two people in a school election. Rosa gets 314 votes in the election. She gets 18 more votes than Brett. How many people voted in the election? So what's our question? How many people voted in the election? So where am I gonna put that question mark? It doesn't go in Rosa's, it doesn't go in Brett's, and we know Rosa's here because she got more, so that's Rosa, and this is Brett. Oh, it's gonna be the total of both bars. I'm gonna put them all together. Okay, let's find the information we can put in here. Rosa and Brett are the only two people in an election. That's important because there's only two of them. Rosa gets 314 votes in the election. She gets 18 more votes than Brett. So we know Rosa gets 314, so put that in the bar that's greater because she's getting more. And where am I gonna put that 18 more? Where's the part that's different? In a comparison bar, where's the part that's showing us the different part? Right here, 18 more. So what do we need to do? So we need to figure out Brett and then figure out the total number of students. So we also don't know Brett. So what do we do? Well, what's our first step? We take 314 and we subtract the part we know to find the part we don't know, which is gonna be Brett. And then we add Brett's number back together with 314, and that tells us how many students vote, and I'm gonna put S for students, right? If we take this and find this number, and we add this number and this number, we're gonna get how many altogether. So let's look at the equations they put and see if they make sense. 314 plus 314 minus 18 equals N, which is the number of votes. We put S, we'll change it to N. Does that work? Yeah, it's just the opposite of what I did here. And in addition, can you switch your add-ins? Yep, so that would work. Yep, this works. What about N equals 314 plus 314 minus 18? Yep, that would work. What about 314 minus 18 plus 314? Does that work? Yep, that works. What about 314 plus 314 plus 18? Does that work? Nope, that does not work. So you could use A, B, or C. We wrote 314 minus 18 plus the 314 equals N. That was the one we did. But you could do the other two. It's just a matter of changing where the equal sign is and changing where that part was. You're still gonna get the same answer. All right, friends, your assignment today is to continue working on these pages, working more on these problems. You're gonna do page 411 and 412. Today, we showed how we solve these two-step story problems using any of the four operations. We created models, we represented the steps with equations, we used a fluent strategy to solve, we checked our solution by estimating. Excellent job, friends. Mr. Kevin, if they have a question, how can they contact us here at the TV Classroom?
Just email us at tvclassroom@tacoma.k12.wa.us or send something in the mail. And you know, we'd love to see what you have to write. Isn't it great, wouldn't it?
It would be great.
Cheer us up. TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.
All right, friends, now is your break. Make sure to gather your ELA materials for Miss Oslin, and I hope you have a great break. Take care of your needs before she comes back on the screen. I will see you next time. Have an awesome day. Bye.
Rules. 1. You have 10 seconds to pick your crewmate. 2. A new timer will appear with an exercise for the crewmate you picked. 3. You will get points for each correct crewmate and exercise you choose. 4. If you pick the imposter, you will lose all your points. 5. Use your math skills to see how many points you can get. Good luck.
Hi, third graders. Welcome back from your break. Excellent job practicing some independent learning habits and making sure that you have your materials ready to go. Now, let's remind ourselves of our 3 personal standards. When we come together today and every day, we all agree to show respect, make good decisions, and solve problems. Now, today, we are learning how strong reading habits can help you grow as a reader. And we've been practicing this for a couple weeks now. And you have been practicing finding your own independent workspace so that you can get your independent work done when you're not with your teacher and when you're not with me on the screen. Now, think about your independent workspace and what have you noticed about your workspace? And are you able to focus in your space? Take some think time. Turn and tell your learning buddy what you're thinking. Rafa, most of the time, I am able to focus in my workspace because it's comfortable, I have everything that I need, and I'm not looking out a window. While I love looking out windows, if I'm trying to work but there's a window there, then I will get distracted watching the birds and the clouds or people walking by and I won't get my work done. Now, part of being an independent worker is having a comfortable workspace where you can focus, but also thinking about what are your habits as a reader? What are you doing in your independent workspace? And today, we're going to learn more about some of those independent reading habits that you can have to help you grow as a reader. And one of the things that you can do is pay close attention to the story elements of your fiction texts. We've been talking a lot about how stories have a clear beginning, middle, and end. In the beginning of a story is when we learn about the characters and the setting. You'll remember the characters are who the story is about, and the setting is where and when the story takes place. In the beginning, we're also introduced to the problem that the character is trying to solve. In the middle is where the plot happens. This is where the events that move the story along. It helps us develop the characters, where we might notice that our characters change, and it elaborates on the problem or conflict, which means it adds more to it. Now, in the end is where we have the resolution. This is where our character solves the problem. This is where the action ends, and if there's a theme, we learn about what that theme is. We also used this graphic organizer to help us think about and study the elements of our fiction texts. We did this last month, almost exactly a month ago, when we were thinking about Mirette on a High Wire. You'll remember we thought about the characters, which were Mirette and Bellini, and we thought about who they were as people. Oh, Mr. Kevin, thank you. We thought about who they were as people. We learned that Bellini was a lonely, retired high rope walker. And the setting was 100 years ago in Paris. And that was important for us to know because there was a lot of cultural language that we needed to know. And it was helpful to know that it was 100 years ago because in the drawings, if you'll remember, there were different outfits. And so the when of the setting was important for us to be able to understand what was happening. Now, the problem, if you'll remember, was Bellini was afraid of the high wire. And we thought about the plot, the beginning, the middle, and then the end. And then we thought about the resolution. We're going to revisit this today in a different story. And we're also going to think about how we can ask questions and then try to think about how the question can make us predict or guess or infer what we think is going to happen. Okay, we're going to use our questions, we're going to use clues from the text, and we're going to make predictions. Now, I don't have this graphic organizer, so I just got my reading notebook out, and I can write my questions, the clues from the text, and my predictions in my reading notebook. So you may not have this graphic organizer, so you can just follow along in your reading notebook with me today. And these are the strong reading habits that you are going to practice to grow as a reader, thinking about the story elements, thinking about questions, and making predictions. We are going to read Jamaica Louise James by Amy Hest, and it was illustrated by Sheila White Sampton. I was the one with the cool idea. It happened last winter, and the mayor put my name on a golden plaque. It's down in the subway station at 86th and Main. You can see it if you go there. That's me, you better believe it. Want to hear my big idea? I'll tell you, but you've got to listen to the whole story, not just a part of it. Mama says my stories go on and on. Whenever I'm just at the beginning of one, she tells me, "Get to the point, Jamaica," or "Snap to it, baby." But I like lacing up the details, this way and that. This story begins with me. I have a big artist pad with 100 big pages and 5 colored pencils with different skinny points. Sometimes I set myself up on the top step of our building where everyone can see me. Everything I see is something I want to draw. So now here at the beginning, we're learning a lot about our character, Jamaica. What do we know that she likes to do? She likes to draw. At night, Mama and Grammy and I cuddle on the couch while the city quiets down. I show them every picture every night. Sometimes I tell a story as I go. Sometimes they ask a question like, why does the man's coat have triangle pockets? Other times, we don't say a word. Now right there, our characters Mama and Grammy are practicing asking questions about what they're reading. Now, look at me on my birthday number 8. Grammy and Mama dance around my bed. "Open your present," they shout. We can't wait another minute. Know what they did? They bought me a real paint set with 8 little tubes of color and 2 paintbrushes. Paint sets cost a lot. I worry. My, they say, are you going to spend birthday number 8 worrying when you could be doing something wonderful such as painting the world? So that's when I get my big idea. Okay, I'm doing some thinking here. Our character has some sort of big idea. It says right there, that's my evidence, when I get my big idea. And we know that the mayor gives them a plaque with their name on it in the subway for their big idea. So right now, I'm wondering, what is their big idea? As I do this, pay attention to what your brain is thinking. What questions are you asking? What's your evidence from the text? And how could you use that to make a prediction? While I write, you think. My question is, what is her big idea? She likes to draw. She just got new paints. Does she somehow paint something to go in the subway? Okay, let's keep that prediction in mind, because we might have to confirm our thinking, which is I thought that she was going to paint something to go in the subway and I was right. Or as I learn more about my characters and the setting and the problem, I might have to change my thinking. And that helps me grow as a reader because it makes me pay really close attention to what I'm thinking as I read. Let's keep reading. Now, this part of the story tells about my Grammy, who leaves for work when it is still dark. Sometimes I wake up halfway when she slides out of bed. In winter, she gets all layered, starting with the long underwear layer. She and Mama whisper in the kitchen. They drink that strong black coffee. Grammy scoops up her brown lunch bag and goes outside. I'm scared in the night, not Grammy. At 86th and Main, she goes down and down into the subway station. All day long, people line up at Grammy's token booth. They give her $1 or 4 quarters, and she slides a token into their hand. Then they rush off to catch the train. Okay, now let's check in with our story elements of fiction. We've read the beginning. Think about who are the characters, where and when is our story taking place, and is there a problem? Take some think time. Turn and tell your learning buddy what you're thinking. Okay, Rafa, the characters are Jamaica, her mama, and her Grammy. Where and when does the story take place? It takes place in a city, and I know that because there's a subway. When does the story take place? Well, actually, I notice that our author has done a really interesting thing where the narrator is the character, but in the future. And she's telling the story in the past tense as it goes on. I'm not really noticing a conflict or any tension or a problem yet. So I think we'll keep reading and pay close attention to that. Now, if you have the story elements of My Fictional Text Graphic Organizer, you can use this now or during your independent reading time to help you organize your thinking. And let's check in. What questions do you have? What clues from the text do you have? And what predictions are you making? Take some think time, and then you're going to tell your learning buddy and practice writing it down. Turn and tell your learning buddy what you're thinking. Now, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds in your reading notebook, or if you have this questions lead to predictions graphic organizer, you can write your thinking there. Go ahead. Okay, we're gonna stop there and keep reading. Now, I like subways because the seats are hot pink and because they go very fast. But I don't like the subway stations, especially the one at 86th and Main. There are too many steep steps, 56, and many grown-ups who all look mad. The walls are old tile walls without any color. When Grammy comes home, she sews and talks about the people she sees, like Green Hat Lady or Gentleman with the Red Bow Tie. Mama reads and hums, but I paint, blending all those colors until they look just right. Every day I add a picture to my collection, and every day I think about my cool idea. At last, it's the morning of Grammy's birthday. Mama and I get up early. We get all layered and sneak outside. Mama holds my hand. I am scared, but also very excited. We swoosh along in our boots to the dark in the snow. At 86th and Main, we go down and down 56 steep steps. Okay, let's check in. We know our characters and setting. What's the problem? Take some think time. Turn and tell your learning buddy what you're thinking. Okay, Rafa, I'm gonna go back a page. I'm thinking that Jamaica was telling us what she doesn't like about the subway, that there's lots of people, they all seem mad, and that there's too many grown-ups, and the walls are old tile walls without any color. And we know that she's an artist, so I bet she likes color. This is kind of confirming my prediction, that maybe she paints something to go in the subway. Okay. What do you think they're gonna do? They're going down into the subway. Let's find out. We don't buy a token at the token booth. We don't take a ride on the subway. What we do is hang a painting on the old tile wall. Then another, and one more. Before you know it, the station is all filled up with color. Surprise! We shout when Grammy comes clomping down the steps. She looks all around that station. Jamaica Louise James, she calls, come right here so I can give you a big hug, baby. So now you know the whole story. Everyone sure is in love with my subway station. You'd be surprised. People are talking to each other. Some even smile. That looks like me, says a lady in a green hat to a gentleman with a red bow tie. Then Grammy tells everyone about Jamaica Louise James, age 8. That's me. You better believe it. Today we revisited the story elements of fiction and noticed that they have a beginning, a middle, and an end. In the beginning of our story, our character Jamaica and Mama and Grammy, and we learned that the setting is in a city, and we learned that the problem is that the subway was kind of boring looking, but also people seemed kind of angry. So in the middle, this is where Jamaica's telling us the story, how she has this plan. In the end, the plan was that she drew pictures of the people that her Grammy was telling her all about that take the subway. And she put those pictures up, and not only did it make the subway really colorful, but also it made all the people happy. And we could also use these story elements of fiction to organize our thinking. We can also ask questions that lead to predictions, just like I did. Now I'm gonna go back. Maybe she paints something to go on the subway was my prediction. I confirmed it. I was right. And I could even go on to add how that impacted the characters in the story, how it made them happier. Today we learned how strong reading habits help you grow as a reader. You're gonna practice getting your independent workspace with all of your materials ready, and then when you're doing your independent reading, you're going to practice asking questions using text evidence to make a prediction about your independent books, and that's what you're gonna write about in your reader's notebook today. You're also going to add to your reading log, keeping track of how long you're reading and setting goals, reading for either longer periods of time, reading different types of books, reading more pages, whatever goal makes the most sense for you as a reader. And we would love to hear all about what you're reading, the predictions that you're making, and the goals that you're setting and achieving. Mr. Kevin, how can our third graders send us their thinking?
Oh, that would be super fun if they did send us something to TV Classroom at tacoma.k12.wa.us, or they can mail it. TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin. Now is time for our affirmation. This is the time of our lesson when we get to say something positive about ourselves before we go off to do our independent work. And today, I want you to remember that your thinking is important. So say out loud, my thinking is important. Go ahead. Excellent job today, third graders. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you back here next time in our TV classroom. Bye.
Hey kids, we want to see your work. Just send your pictures and your stories to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.